And welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, it is the Sacred Division. Now, some of you are probably thinking, what in the world? Because on the other social media platforms, you're thinking, why are we doing the Sacred Division? That was yesterday. That is a true blue statement. So let me tell you guys why. But first of all, let me give you who I am. That way it'd be kind of nice to introduce myself, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'm Bishop James Long. Hello and howdy. And hopefully you're having a great Saturday. Wherever you are in this beautiful, beautiful world, let's just chillax. Let's chillax today. How's that? Let's chillax. Let's forget all the stress and anxieties. Okay, if you want to go to my website because you're really, really bored and have nothing else better to do and you would like to have something that put you to sleep, well, there you can go. You can go to my website at bishopjameslong.com. Head on over there and there you go. I am going to be going to Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky. Looking forward to it. It's been a little bit since I've been there. I will be doing a presentation there. I'll be speaking. It is a paranormal conference. You usually have about 30,000 or so people to go to the event. It's a huge event. The Annabelle the Doll is going to be there. That's going to be in October. So I'm going to be there and doing a presentation. I won't be able to go live on all the other social media platforms, but I will be able to go live with you guys on TikTok when I go. So that'll be in the middle of October 17th to the 19th. So I'm going to lock that in, and I'll be right next to Annabelle, and I'll be going live on TikTok. So you guys heads up on that. And then, of course, I believe in September. So here's the deal. So let me just break it down for you. So I talked to Judy Ann because Judy Ann is serving as the executive producer of a documentary that we're going to put together for the Queen Mary in LA, and some other documentaries that we're to work on. It looks like that I might be going to LA a month earlier, and that would be probably in September. So it's because I was planning to go in October, but if I'm going to go to Scarefest on October 17th to the 19th, there is no way that I can do that. Plus, I just can't. It's not possible. So it looks like October is Scarefest, the 17th to the 19th, and LA, California, is going to happen in September. So I really am looking forward to it. That should be a lot of fun. Anyway, if you want to go to the church's website, because a lot of you guys have questions about the church, first of all, we're here 7 days a week. I go live 7 days a week. The moderators are here on TikTok 7 days a week. They are unbelievably loyal to this community, and we appreciate them very, very much. 7 days a week, that's a lot. That is a lot. It's a lot to go live, and it's also a lot for the moderators to be here. So if you want to know the church's website, it's usocc.org. usocc.org. All the information about the church, who we are, it's all there. It's all there. So just go to usocc.org. Okay? So click on Validity link if you want to know more about us, or the FAQ section, the frequently asked questions section. Just go there. It's all there. It drives me crazy when I tell people, go to the website. And then they ask a question that I know is answered on the website because I'm the one who created the website. Go to the website. It's there. Okay. So anyway, that's the schedule. And that's what we're looking at. Yeah, and I want to say something very quickly also, because it needs to be said. There's a lot of people who are asking. Look, folks, you got to understand something. So I'm one person. I don't have a staff, and I do this ministry 100% free. I do not get paid as a bishop. I do not get a stipend as a bishop. I receive absolutely zero compensation from the church. Zero, zilch, nada, nothing. Now, and that's fine. I've accepted that. Because I don't have a staff, I am the staff. I have over 21,000 messages on TikTok. I have 19,733 email messages. And I don't know how many messages on the other social media platforms. So what I'm trying to say to you is I do the best that I can. I try to answer as many as I can, but you got to please understand, I can only do so much. And so there we go. And the reason is I don't have a staff looking at the emails is because some of the emails are very, very private. And so to make sure that your privacy is respected and honored, my eyes are the only one that sees them. So if in saying this, if you need help, let's say that you are having issues in your home. One, remember, I don't charge for this ministry. I've said it a million times. So if you're having issues in your home, do not send me an email or messages on TikTok or any of the social media platforms, because chances are I won't be able to see it. So what you got to do is go to bishopjameslong.com. Okay. And then click on the paranormal link. And it says right there, you contact the Society of St. Benedict. They are with the church. You send an email to them, let them know what's going on. They get a team out there. They organize all that. It's all free. It's not free to us because we have to pay for all the expenses, but they will get out there. They'll investigate. They'll help you, but you have to click on the paranormal link on our website. You have to. Oh, thank you there, Angelica. You have to. And the reason being is because I have so many social media platforms that it's nearly impossible, but I can't keep up anymore. I can't. And that's been 15 years ago. I couldn't keep up because again, I charge. If I charge $10,000 for an exorcism, I wouldn't have that many emails. But because it's free, everybody's demanding, and I get it. But you got to go to that link. You have to. Okay, bishopjameslong.com. Click on the paranormal link. That's what you got to do, and then it all goes to funnel that to that section, and then we can keep up with your emails, the requests, and it just makes life a lot easier. Thank you. So okay. That is how it's. Oh yeah, Tony. Sure, there are quite a few people who say that they are exorcists, and they charge, and because they say, look, this is how they pay their bills. This is how they pay their mortgage or their rent or their electric or all that other stuff. So they have a different perspective than I do. They tell me, look, it's nice to do everything for free, but free doesn't pay their bills, and if they're in ministry and they're not receiving a salary from the church, then the only way that they're going to be able to pay their bills is they have to charge. I understand the perspective. I get it. I truly do. I get it. I get it. But, it's just the way it is. That's just I have a different belief system, I guess, in charging, because the thing is, one is I'm a Benedictine. And so many, many years ago, I took a vow of celibacy, and I also took a vow of poverty. And before anybody says, oh, yeah, you took a vow of poverty, that's why you're wearing a gold chain around your neck. No, sunshine, it's not gold. You can get it actually at Walmart for $3.50. I've actually shown you guys many, many times the actual chain itself. So before you start yapping about how, oh, you're wearing a gold chain. Oh, you can buy it for $3.50. I've shown you guys, actually now it's $4.25. They've gone up. But I've shown it many times. Yep, I know you thought it was a real chain. I would never, ever, I could never justify wearing a gold chain that costs $1,000 around my neck when I've taken a vow of poverty. So that's it, $4. Well, $4.25, but nonetheless, okay. Well, Brandy, you can try to send it to the book to the face, and go from there. Okay. Yeah, and again, all of them are very, okay, let me make this clear. If you're going to say to me, yeah, but what about that pen you have? What about this? So I get, there are some of you, if I were doing this show right now in a cardboard box, some of you would say, you don't even deserve the cardboard box. So let's knock that off right now, because we're not going to play that game. Because some of you right now, because several of you, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about that? We're not playing that game. We're not going to do this. So, and I'm telling you, some of you would. Thank you. Most of you would not. But there are some of you right now that are trolling that will say 100%. Yeah, but. You know what? I've done this ministry for 25 years. I have never charged a penny, and it's still not enough for you trolls, is it? It's still not enough for you, is it? Since it's not. Okay. Anyway, back to what we were saying before we were rudely interrupted. And by the way, for those of you who are on TikTok, let me make this very, very clear to you. If you cannot behave, I will put sub chat on, and then you won't be able to chat with us. And I know you'll be very upset about that. But as long as you just be kind, and I know it's going to be very difficult for some of you, but just be kind. And if you can, then you can stay. If you can't, we're going to put sub chat. Okay, there we go. Hello, 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 hello. So there we go. As long you have an angel in your corner to watch over the miracle. Oh yeah, yeah, we certainly do. Mark, I agree with that. And I believe, Mark, did you do this? Someone sent me, and I think, again, this is from Amazon. It doesn't say a name. Hold on, guys. I'll get your questions, but someone sent me some beautiful medals that I can pass out to folks, which is very nice. And also some, I love this Benedictine cards that I can pass out to people. It is, yeah, yeah. And that was very nice. There was no name to it, so I don't know who it was. There was also a stand. And I always want to thank people for doing that. So if whoever did this, and they also sent some beautiful, a little bookmark here, which is really beautiful. So I'm going to be passing those out as well when I send the rosaries. So that's very, very kind. And they also sent me, and this was beautiful, a card. Thank you, a gift card. So was it Mark? Because Patty and Mark usually do that. But this was gorgeous. Let me show you guys. Really pretty. There it is. This was a pocket watch. Absolutely gorgeous pocket watch. And on it, it says Reverend Bishop James Long and the Lord, I think the Lord's Time. And that is absolutely beautiful. So I will have to make sure I put this on here, and we'll do that after. But thank you very much for that. I just don't know who did it. I have no idea. Okay, so here's how you get a rosary. Let me explain this. This is how, because we give them away, guys, and so I can, I can't. I would love to be able to give a rosary out for every single person who wants it, but already it's $5.65 every single day. So we have night prayer Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so Mark sent it. Well, it was beautiful. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you very much, Mark. They were beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, and I love every one of them. So I can't wait to put the pocket watch in here. So thank you. Monday through Friday we have a night prayer, and what you got to do is you need to show up. It's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We pray for your petitions, and then as long as you remain, then one of the moderators will pick a winner, and that's it. So that's how we do this. So there we go. Okay, Joseph, I won't be going to California in October. I will be going, actually, we're going to put this a month ahead to September. And then that's where we're going to do it. So it looks like that. But remember, guys, it's Monday through Friday. So we're not having night prayer tonight. So you have to show up here on all the social media platforms, TikTok and all the Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what your concern is, Liz. Well, thank you, Dog Norman. Thank you very much. But you can send it to Book to the Face. So what was Zach like in real life? He's actually a very nice person. And there we go. He was actually a really, really nice person. So there you go. Okay. Well, we can't say that, Liz, unfortunately, because if you do, you kind of get in trouble on certain social media platforms. So your account kind of gets in trouble, which is ridiculous. Oh, the Aaron thing is terrible. All right. So let's get into our presentation because we have a lot to go over. But this is a chill out night anyway. Normally, I'm not going to stress over about, what I'm going to do tonight. This is Saturday night. I'm just going to chill. And but anytime we always go live, we always have something structured, always. And so, but this, I'm not going to put that type of pressure on me. One night a week, it's like, okay, we're just going to relax. So we had a lot of articles that we did not get to yesterday because we were talking about the haunted items. So if you have not watched that, you can go back to my social media platforms and you can check that out. And we're going to do that right now. And let me know, moderators, if it gets too bad on TikTok, I would prefer not to put sub chat on. I don't want to. And there's a reason for that. So if we have to, I will, but that causes more stress for me. And we understand why. But listen to this. This is interesting. Very interesting. And we're not, and look, here's the deal. We're not going to talk about, we're not talking about politics here. We're not going to talk about, we understand what's happening right now with the Middle East. We know what's happening. We know the protest. We know the parade. We get all of it. We understand. Everybody knows this. If you want to argue and scream and call people's name and all this other stuff, if that's what you're here for, you're wasting your time because we won't entertain that tonight. Not interested. We're just not interested in that. We're not interested. We pray for peace and then we move on because there are so many other platforms where people are screaming and yelling at each other and calling everybody. We're not interested in that. We're not interested. Okay. So I'm just giving you a heads up right now. If that's your game plan, you're wasting your time. Okay. A lot of work, Deb. Listen to this. This is a very interesting article. T.K. Randall wrote this. There was a surprise discovery made in a womb of one of Peru's alleged alien mummies. So the mummies, which remain shrouded in controversy, are continuing to yield intriguing discoveries. Now, whatever you may think about the mummies, which rose to prominence after the controversial UFO researcher Jamie Mawson presented two of them at a formal congressional hearing in Mexico back in 2023, there's no denying the continued level of interest that seems to surround them. Well, supposedly found buried between the Peruvian cities of Palpa and Nazca in 2017, the bodies reportedly contain unknown DNA and were, as Mawson put it, not from this earth. Now, again, this person went to a congressional hearing in Mexico. So he presented this finding. Now, others, meanwhile, claim that they might not even be real bodies at all. Now, further investigations of one of the mummies has revealed the discovery of a fetus within its womb. And the find was made by Joyce Mantilla, a firm proponent of the notion that the mummies are real, during an analysis of one particular specimen that has been named Montserrat. He says, I observed the position of the hands as if she was wanting to protect her gestating belly. He told Mail Online, one hand above and one below. The abdomen dried out, lost the hydration, and became almost flat, but the hands remained in that position. Now, keep in mind, these are allegedly alien mummies. So please understand that. Now, the abdomen, again, dried out. So one of the oddest things about the mummies is their strange three-fingered hands and anomalous internal organs, which indicate, according to Mantilla, extraterrestrial or reptilian ancestry. For now, the only clear anatomical similarity between the fetus and the mother is the structure of the hands and the feet. Now, as things stand, it remains unclear whether the mummies are genuine human remains, or not. And if they are, then this particular mummy would likely be that of a woman who passed away about 1,200 years ago while carrying a child. Now, exactly what caused her passing, we just simply don't know. But this is an actual mummy that they believe is extraterrestrial in origin. And again, this individual went to Congress in Mexico in 2023 and said that they discovered these mummies, and he described them as clearly not being of this creation. Now, that's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. I don't know about that one. It's crazy, isn't it? But nonetheless. Yep. Okay. Well, John, all right. This is a very interesting also. Roswell has always been one of those locations. I personally believe that Roswell is a military base where they, go into all kinds of interesting technology. And again, for those of you who just joining us, normally we always have, this is open mic night. You should have me as a guest. You know many things. What many things do you know there, Lori? What is your specialty? So normally we do open mic night. But tonight we're going to change this up on Saturdays, and we're going to make this the Sacred Division, the weekend edition. And so, because there are so many articles that I usually choose for Friday that I don't get to even 10% of them. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to continue on. So it's going to be paranormal kind of related. This is interesting. This also is from TK Rando. There are frequent sightings in an Arizona town that is now hailed as the new Roswell. So the small town of Sedona has become something of a hotspot for reports of unexplained phenomena in recent years. Now, excuse me, something strange has been frequenting the skies above Arizona. At least that is according to a recent report, which highlights the small desert town of Sedona as having recorded about 484 UFO sightings between 2000 and 2023. Now, a figure well above the national average. Situated 180 miles from Phoenix with a population of 10,000. I thought they had more people than that. Sedona is not the first place you are likely to think of when it comes to UFO hotspots in the United States. Well, speaking to the Mail Online, UFO tour guide John Polk maintains that he has witnessed mysterious objects on a regular basis and believes that the area is home to a vortex or dimensional door. Now, he also claims that the UFO appear and disappear due to the presence of ley lines in the area. He said, you'd see stuff whether I was here or not. He said, but I am here. You see a lot more because I know how to work the energy out there. So anyway, some have come to liken Sedona to Roswell, New Mexico, the site of the infamous 1947 UFO crash. All right. Anyway, there have been reports of an extraterrestrial base in the town's surrounding hillsides. And as things stand, however, no conclusive evidence of such facility has been forthcoming. Now, I do know quite a few people who do these searching, the UFO searching, and they are absolutely convinced that Arizona is the hot spot place to go. I've never been to Sedona, so I don't know. You guys can tell me if you guys agree with it or if you've ever experienced it. I don't know. But there are people who swear that there's something there. I don't know about spiritual gift because I know people who have that Itachi and they really struggle. So, yeah, it's just Roswell, of course. Again, what you don't want to do, you don't want to head over to Roswell, New Mexico, or certainly in Roswell and going past the lines, the security lines. You're going to get in some big trouble, big trouble. All right, there, Chris. Okay, and I want to remind also, don't forget, a lot of people ask for us to pray. We certainly will. However, Monday through Friday, I'm going to remind you again, we have night prayer at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Sunday night, I will upload a video on TikTok, and it will say, place your prayer petitions for Monday's night prayer before 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday. And then we'll pray for your prayer petitions during night prayer. We do that Monday through Friday. I want to talk about chemtrails. Okay, Chris. Chemtrails. Now, It used to be where chemtrails, you say chemtrails to people and they would roll their eyes at you and thinking that you're absolutely insane. Now I know this for a fact. Now I've been in the paranormal community for a long. My first time I investigated was 35 years ago, and I've seen a lot of weird, interesting topics come and go. That's right, Jenny. Understand, weather modification is not science fiction. I want everybody to please understand this. There's a lot of people who think this is nonsense. If you think that is nonsense, then you have not been reading declassified articles that clearly establish that the United States the military has already had weather modification systems. We've done this for a long time. Now, people are going to immediately think, oh, that's ridiculous. No, to think that we didn't or haven't done it is ridiculous, and I can prove it. So for those of you, because a lot of you right now are sending me messages on Messenger saying that I'm lying, fine. Now let's see if you'll apologize. Operation Popeye was a top secret U.S. military cloud seeding operation during the Vietnam War. It was conducted from 1967 to 1972. Look it up. The goal was to prolong the monsoon season over parts of North Vietnam, specifically the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And what they did is they used silver iodide to induce rainfall and disrupt enemy supply lines. The operation was aimed to make roads muddy and trigger landslides, wash out river crossings. It is a fact. It's called Operation Popeye. It is a declassified, well, you can look it up, article. Operation Popeye. It did happen. And that's frightening. Remember, friends, this happened in 1967 to 1972. 1972, we're talking nearly 53 years later. What can they do now? So if they were able to modify the weather, which they did, in 1972, they stopped 53 years ago. Then how advanced have we become now today in 2025? That's frightening. So when you start talking about chemtrails, a lot of people would roll their eyes and say, oh, that's just so stupid. Nope. Chemtrails, for those of you who don't know, have you ever looked up in the sky and you see a plane and you see like an exhaust, a white smoke will follow the plane. That's normal. So I have friends that are pilots. That's completely and totally normal. Basically, what that is it's exhaust from the engines on the plane because they're 35, 40,000 feet above the ground. And so that exhaust turns to icicles. The icicles, because of their weight, obviously burn up, they evaporate, they turn into moisture. So that goes away. So when you're looking in the sky and you see it, that the exhaust it'll go away because it evaporates. Here's the problem. When you're looking into the sky and you see these long, straight line puffs of these, it looks like from exhaust from a plane, and it stays there for hours, that's not normal. That is abnormal. Those are not exhaust or icicles from a plane. Because remember, thank you very much, Lynn. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Lynn offered a beautiful, thank you, a gift. So because of the icicles and their weight, they obviously fall and they evaporate, they turn into moisture. When you see these long lines of clouds, just long straight line, when you see that, that's very abnormal. Those are chemtrails. So here's what's going on now. TK Randall writes this as well. The recent move to ban chemtrails in Tennessee and Florida has now prompted similar legislation in other states. Tennessee and Florida have now officially banned Chemtrails. What does that tell you? That tells you that chemtrails are real. Because the governors of these states are not going to ban something that isn't real. They would look foolish. So now we know for a fact that these chemtrails do exist. Not only that, Peter, you can't be a normal person. It can't be kind. Shame. But listen to this. Yeah, trolls. If you're gonna be rude, you're just gonna be blocked or muted. You won't get my attention. So if you're gonna do something because you get excitement by being nasty to somebody, you want to see how it affects me. Here's how it will. This will affect me like this. Shall I? I will not pay attention to you at all. So you'll be ignored like a pestilent child who's stomping their feet because they want candy in a store. You'll just be put in timeout. So if you're going to try that, you're going to be ignored. So you're not going to get my attention at all. We only pay attention to people who are actually individuals who want to have an intellectual conversation. And there we go. So listen to this. Now, what started as a baseless conspiracy theory, chemtrails, has since turned into an increasingly widespread legislative movement that has now spread to 8 U.S. states, with possibly more on the way. The chemtrails conspiracy, it began back in 1990s. When a theory emerged suggesting that the vapor trails of high-altitude aircraft that can often be seen as, crisscrossing the skies are actually trails of chemicals being deliberately sprayed by a government for shadowy, nefarious purposes. Those are not normal exhaust from airplanes when they're staying in the sky for 3 or 4 hours. They're just not. And while several possible agendas have been put forward, ranging from chemical or biological weapons testing for weather modification, no conclusive evidence that these trails are anything sinister has ever been forthcoming. Well, of course they're not going to, but anybody who has 2 brain cells would know that those are not exhaust from the aircrafts. Nonetheless, in recent years, both Tennessee and Florida have introduced legislation to make such activities, chemtrails, illegal, and more specifically to outlaw the injection, release, or dispersion by any means of a chemical or chemical compound, a substance, apparatus into the atmosphere for the express purpose of affecting the temperature, weather, climate, intensity of sunlight. Now, while critics have argued that these bills are a waste of time, critics. Okay, let me go slower. When there is exhaust, moisture from an aircraft flying 35,000 miles per hour or above 35,000 miles per hour above the ground, you're going to have exhaust from the engines. The exhaust will become icicles because they're so high. Gravity kicks in and the icicles evaporate, turning into moisture. Therefore, there should be no exhaust staying in the sky 3, 4, 5, 6 hours later. So, but more states, Louisiana, Texas, Kentucky, Minnesota, and North Dakota are also now looking to introduce their own equivalent legislation. Yeah, Fly but troublesome. We're still alive. Bishop, I saw you're getting up near 1 million followers. Yeah, unfortunately, I've been climbing that 1 million followers for seems like forever. I'm still at where it's 780 or something like that. I don't even know if it'll ever get to 1 million, but that's okay. He said, but anyway, there is at least some reason to be cautious about what's being sprayed into the sky. Now, there was a professor at Berkeley School of Information, Timothy Tangerlini, cites Agent Orange, a herbicide and used during the Vietnam War as a prime example. He says there are certain things that were sprayed by airplanes that did have a massive impact on the environment and on people's health, he said. Now, fast forward 50 years, there's a deep suspicion of the government and things that fly. Now, whether even more states will decide to introduce their own legislation to combat such practices, however, remains to be seen. You know what? I applaud this, because this is not make-believe science fiction nonsense. They are putting something in this atmosphere, and that's got to stop. It has to stop. And we don't know what they're doing. We have no idea what they're doing, but there's no doubt in my mind that what you're seeing, that smoke that you're seeing last 5 or 6 hours after a plane has passed, that absolutely is not exhaust. It is not. It cannot be. So I just really, really, it makes me angry, and they need to knock it off. So I say good, but I think it's interesting that legislation in these states are taking this seriously, even to the point where they are outlawing it and making it illegal. That is insane. That is insane. And then we want to know why. Well, sorry. And then we want to know why people are getting so sick. Well, the crap they put in the. We don't know what they're doing. Yeah, the bear. We just simply don't know. Now let's talk about this. This was interesting. I'm insane. Obviously, Vincent, you're obviously incapable of looking up Operation Popeye, aren't you? Yeah. So Vincent, why don't you? No, let's not mute. Vincent is a pestilent child who needs attention. So congratulations, Vincent. You have now been blocked. Bye-bye. You're insane. No, you're ignorant, because you obviously can't go online and look up Operation Popeye and see that in 1967 and 1972, weather modification had already been done. Okay. Anyway, listen to this. Again, I apologize, but we try to reach people who have a little higher than IQ of a 5. So most of you are brilliant thinkers, but we have to kind of, unfortunately, deal with some people who are not. They struggle. Be blessed and be flushed. Listen to this one. This is by Ellie Fry. Now, I don't know about this. You have to tell me what you think about this, okay? To be fair, this was in the Irish Star. And Ellie Fry is a deputy online features editor. So this person says, I encounter aliens every day, and there's one reason they come to me, this person is saying. So Lily Nova from St. Louis in Missouri, in the United States, has claimed that not a day goes by where she doesn't see a floating orb or metallic ship or an extraterrestrial being. Okay, well, I'm not trying to be mean, but when you, I don't know who Jamie, when you look in the sky and you see a little white thing go by, it could be a satellite, it could be the International Space Station, there could be a lot of things. So it's a rag paper, yeah. Well, but I actually looked up a little bit more and I found her, and she really legit thinks this. So here's the deal. During the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, a woman said that she began experiencing daily encounters with extraterrestrial beings after being spotting her first UFOs. So she's kind of made her rounds with the media to tell them about this. So Lily Nova, who started astrophotography to cope with boredom, said she made her initial sighting in November 2021. Followed another shortly after. And since then, her encounters have escalated to the point where she claims to see floating orbs, metallic ships, or aliens every day. Describing the beings, Lily from St. Louis, Missouri, mentioned one resembled a girl with light blue skin, no hair, wearing a skin-tight gray suit, which she found very beautiful. Anyway, she recounted her first encounter, stating that my first encounter with aliens and UFOs was very intense. I went outside for some fresh air one night, and I immediately locked eyes with bright light hovering over our neighborhood. She said, I started investigating and realized it was a UFO. And seconds later, I looked away briefly. And when I looked back, there was a second craft that was much closer. Anyway, she said I could actually see the triangular shape of the craft. The UFOs did some impressive maneuvers to show me that it wasn't a regular aircraft before they disappeared above me. Now, Lily admitted to being unsettled following her initial experience, but since then, such events have become routine. She elaborated, during my encounters, I've also been able to see what the beings look like. And one of the first beings I saw was a girl with light blue skin. So she had no hair, but she was very beautiful. She was wearing a skin-tight gray suit. I saw her shipmates standing behind her in the same uniform. Seeing, things go in the sky, I'm open-minded to that. I saw something in the sky that I couldn't explain. But now you're seeing, anyway, she says, I've also seen another group. Oh, you've seen another? Okay. I've also seen another group of beings with light blonde hair, no relation to me, fair and glowing skin, and bright blue eyes. And I believe they send images of themselves to me through telepathy. I think they are easing me into an introduction, as it would be such a shocking experience for any human to have an alien walk up to you. Anyway, according to Lily, the extraterrestrial beings were initially testing her reaction following her first startling encounter. And as they seemed aware that she was recording them and made gestures in her direction, she suspects that they subsequently gave her some space to process the experience before reappearing. And Lily further stated, my encounters have been very close from the start. I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. I actually received my my minor orders in the Roman Catholic Church and studied for 6 years, and then went to the Old Catholic Church because God called me to serve in this ministry, and I didn't want to go. And I took a year and I prayed about it and asked God to change his mind. God said no, and I said, okay, God, if that's where you want me to be, that's where I'll be. All right, there we are. No, the relics are nope. Can't. They are put up. They are already in the storage facility. That was yesterday. So if you missed the show yesterday, you're going to have to go back and you'll have to watch the presentation. Go to bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to where it says official social media links, and you can go to Book to the Face or Tube to the U. I have to do it because if you don't, you get in trouble. Nonetheless, you can go there and you can watch it last night. But nope, I don't have them with me and I don't want them here. So there we are. Okay. Yeah, we got to be very, very careful about that. Speaking of interesting conspiracy, I did. I asked God to change his mind. He said, nope. Because like I was saying, guys, I've said this before. In the Old Catholic Church, we don't receive I've said it a million times. We don't receive a salary. We don't receive a stipend. We receive no compensation for being clergy. None. We fund our ministry with our own money. So I didn't know how to open a church. How could I afford that? How could I start my own ministry? That was going to be expensive. How was I going to do that? Thank you, Mr. Bigelow. So no, for a year I said, because my life was planned out. It's going to be a Roman Catholic priest. And God said, no, I need you over here. So anyway, listen to this. This Bilderberg group, have you heard of this? You do some research on this, guys. So Mr. Randall writes this. I have a master's of education, so I teach online English. There was an annual meeting of a shadowy Bilderberg group that took place there in Sweden. So the event, which has taken place almost every year since 1954, remains shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Originally intended to enable dialogue between Europe and North America, the group, which is comprised of some of the world's most powerful politicians, bankers, and business owners, have become synonymous with stories of shady dealings. Oh, thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you. Shady dealings and clandestine government agendas. Now, adding to the mystery surrounding the group's annual meetings is the fact that no cameras or journalists are ever allowed inside, meaning that everything that is discussed, it remains private. Well, this year's meeting, which took place just the other day. Let's see, when was this? On June the 12th, 2 days ago, was attended by NATO General Secretary Mark Rutte, or what? Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, and U.S. military commander Christopher Donahue. According to reports, the meeting aimed to address topics such as the situation in Ukraine, artificial intelligence, transatlantic relations, and the distribution of valuable rare materials. Everything else about the event, however, has remained under wraps. Now, as things stand, it remains unclear just how impactful the Bilderberg meetings actually are to global events, with some playing down their significance and others maintaining that they are secretly more influential than many world governments. Suffice to say, it is unlikely we will ever know exactly what goes on at these events after the doors have closed. I'm telling you, there's something, when you have that many people, that type of influential, powerful people, it raises eyebrows, no matter what. I mean, even if you don't, maybe whatever you might have an opinion on the Bilderberg group, but when you have that, that's a powerful group of people there. So it's very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it is. It is important. Now there is we're going back and forth on some of these topics, so just follow along. Yeah, hopefully the peace can be established everywhere. Wouldn't that be nice? Mr. Randall writes this: there's a new Rendlesham UFO documentary to premiere at a film festival. This has been getting a lot of notice. There is a new documentary will explore the true story behind Britain's most famous UFO incident. For those of you who are in Britain, you probably know about this. It is entitled, and hopefully I'm saying this correctly, the Rendlesham UFO, the British Roswell. So you guys can check that out if you want. It is the Rendlesham UFO, the British Roswell. It is the film's promise to unravel shocking new insights pertaining to this long-enduring case and to create a conversation about the mystery. Well, it will also feature exclusive interviews and brand new footage of mysterious phenomena at the force. Oh, Scotland? Well, there is something unexplained there, and there are so many credible witnesses to the event, said Mark Lee, who co-directed the documentary alongside Roderick Godman. Now, there had been sightings of UFOs leading up to the 1980s sighting and going back in through the decades. Okay, Marty, congratulations. Narrated by William B. Davis, who famously played the secretive cigarette smoking man in The X-Files, the documentary will premiere at the Raindance Film Festival in London in June 24th and 25th of this month. So the Rendlesham incident itself, which occurred in December 1980, saw U.S. servicemen stationed at RAF Woodbridge in England witness a strange object over multiple nights. And Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt and his men had gone out to investigate when the unidentified object was spotted descending into the nearby woods. This is an interesting case. It truly is. It says our security team observed a light that looked like a large eye, red in color, moving through the trees, Halt recalled. Again, folks, please understand, this is a lieutenant colonel who said this. So this is not somebody who, probably drank a little bit too much wine coolers or beer or whatever and went out, trudging down through the forest. He is a deputy base commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt. And he said, our security team observed a light that looked like a large eye, red in color, moving through the trees. So after a few minutes, the object, he says, began dripping something looked like molten metal. A short while later, it broke into several smaller white color objects, which then flew away in all directions. Here's what's really interesting about this. This was maybe 15 years ago. I remember I was doing an online radio. I was doing a show, the Sacred Division. And a friend at that time said, Bishop, get outside now. Okay, so I went outside and she said, look, I looked up and I saw this red. It was really strange. It was this red object flying, and I saw a Louisville Metro Police helicopter. I knew because at that time, I was a chaplain for the Louisville Metro Police Department, so I was very familiar with their copters. It was chasing after this red object. It couldn't keep up. It stopped. It hovered, and I could see all of this. And it hovered with the helicopter right there on it, flat, having its light on it, and it was shooting out like it looked to me. It was like red and white, like orbs. It was just shooting. It was shooting them out. I thought that's kind of weird, and it kept doing it, and it just made this weird movement, and then it flew up. It was gone. And so we immediately went on air and said, man, we just saw a UFO. And people thought, oh, yeah, right. Well, this was really interesting. There was no, I didn't hear the sound. There was no sound of an APU. That's called auxiliary power unit. There were heard no engines. I only heard the helicopter, and the helicopter couldn't keep up. So what was really interesting about this is, I think it maybe a year or 2 years later, I was flipping through the channel, and I can't remember if it was a travel channel. They were interviewing the police officers that were in the helicopter, and they were talking about what they saw, and they saw this massive object from their view because they were obviously closer, this metal object, and they could not keep up with it. And they also saw it shooting out these red and white like spheres. And that was amazing. So they were they were convinced it was not man-made. The way it was flying, they just couldn't keep up with this helicopter. And so I don't know what we saw, but it's interesting because when they were describing this, it's like, well, that's what we saw about 15 years ago. It probably is. I'm sure it's a Louisville Metro Police, or I'm sure it will be. Let me double check here. Well, let's just find out. Let's see. Louisville Metro Police helicopter chases a UFO. Let's see if it has that. I didn't think it was that long. This says 1993. It wasn't that long ago. Anyway, but it says in 1993, 2 Louisville Metro Police officers in a helicopter reported a UFO sighting while responding to a break-in call. They claimed an egg-shaped object shot 3 fireballs at their helicopter before flying away. So I guess it was then. Man, it only seemed like 15 years ago. So it's right here. I don't know what that was, but it was really strange. Yeah, maybe one day we will, Billy, man. Yeah, Ronald, get over it. You're watching. So if you don't like it, Ronald, there's a thing called Scroll. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you're watching me. I'm not watching you. That makes you a fan. So you can scroll. If you don't like this, that's how you do it. Let me know if I'm going too fast. You just scroll and see, then you can go to another person, you can watch them, and then you can tell them what they're doing wrong in their live because you won't go live yourself. Got it. Okay. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by Ronald, who desperately needed attention. So in the years since, many have come to refer to the incident as Britain's Roswell. Not the UFO that I saw, but not everyone subscribes to the belief that the Rendlesham UFO was extraterrestrial in origin. I don't know, but it's pretty interesting. So I certainly saw it. Poor Ronald. Yeah, let's help Ronald. Let's help Ronald. Hey, Ronald, be blessed and be blocked. Bye-bye. There you go. We had to put Ronald in permanent timeout. It happens. What are you going to do? Okay. Let's see. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to, yeah, we're not going to talk about this article. This article is kind of boring. So let's go into another one, and maybe I should do another alien just to really piss him off. Okay. Oh, well, yeah, let's talk about Bigfoot. You're supposed to be a man of God, and you're talking about Bigfoot? Yeah, talking about Bigfoot. Okay, because I actually believe that, what's the, well, I don't know your name. I'm new here. Welcome. What's the point of this live? All right. So what we do on Fridays, we have a Paranormal Friday show. We talk about everything and anything that's paranormal. I usually have a topic and I do a lecture on it and answer questions. And that's Friday. But what we do on Saturday is I have a lot of articles on Friday that normally I don't get to. And so that's okay. So what we do on Saturday now is we're calling it the Sacred Division Weekend Edition. So we continue basically on from the show on Friday, and we talk about really interesting topics that this community they're interested in. And then 5 days a week, we devote to scripture. So before anybody says, but you're supposed to be teaching scripture, and then I'm going to say, well, then why don't you show up next time before you judge? Because actually, Sunday and Wednesday, we have Bible study at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Monday through Friday, we have night prayer at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there we go. Only 2 days a week, we talk about secular things. Only 2 days a week. The rest of the time, we talk about the Bible and God, and that's good. Okay. So, but it's a good question. And Sunday Mass, we have, thanks, Jack. We have Sunday Mass at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, too. So, yeah. All right. With 1 million likes, by the way. Okay. Ohio Grassman is interesting. Yeah. There's just a book. Oh, God is certainly more than a book. No question about that. But I don't think we need to say the Bible is just a book. So, anyway. That's how we go. Listen to this. This is also by TK Randall. A dubious Colorado Bigfoot clips. It sparks publicity of a stunt accusations. Liquid. Oh, poor person. Poor Liquid. He can't be a normal human being. Okay. Well, listen to this. Recently released footage shows what appears to be a Bigfoot-like creature hiding among some trees. So the clip, which comes courtesy of tour company Colorado River Expeditions, was filmed on May 24th of this year by a guide during the first trip of the season to Upper Colorado River. Now, here's what I'm thinking. And they say no CGI, no fakes, just wilderness and raw footage. The firm wrote in the video's caption. So here's what I'm thinking about this. You know, you have a business, and if you're going to create a fake video, that could actually hurt your business. So you would think that people wouldn't do something stupid like that. I wouldn't do it. I think that would be silly. All right, let me do this gram to the Insta. You know what I'm talking about. We gotta do that real quick if you don't mind. So I gotta give another key so I can start it on that other platform. Well, thank you very much. It's amazing how many, you're not supposed to be talking. Then scroll on. It's not that hard. Do we need directions? Maybe we got to start putting directions to scroll. This is step number 1. Thank you, Mr. Pickles. Step number 1. Go get your milk and cookies because you're hangry. Okay. Anyway, this tour company, it's called Colorado River Expeditions. They say this was not fake. And while many videos of alleged cryptids are too indistinct to make out, this one certainly isn't. The quote, Bigfoot is clear as day and can be seen peeking out from behind the trees nearby. Tour participants can also be heard chatting in the background as the creature moves around. So the video generally falls into the too good to be true category, not least because it is so clear, but because the supposed creature is so stereotypical in appearance that it is almost certainly someone wearing a Bigfoot costume. Its movements are also far too human-like to be genuine animal. So in all likelihood, this stunt was organized to gain publicity for the touring firm. I think it's kind of stupid to do this. That's just my own opinion. I haven't had a chance to watch this. I'm going to do it now. This is a live view. That's a Bigfoot caught on camera in the Colorado River, whatever. There we go. So we're going to see this, and we're going to see how ridiculous this is. I have a feeling it's going to be like, okay, this is crazy. Maybe not, but I don't know. If you have a business and you do this kind of thing, then I think it hurts the business. Okay. This is in Colorado. It's not. Hold on. I'm trying to find the, see if I can find this here. Oh, there it is. We'll find it. Lurking in the Colorado woods. I think there's something. I think a lot of people ask me if I believe in Bigfoot. I do think there's something there because there's too many credible people that are seeing this. As a matter of fact, we had an expert on. Okay. So I'm looking at it. I mean, that it looks bulky to me. It doesn't look natural. I would say that's a costume. So it's a shocking video claims the big capture Bigfoot lurking in Colorado woods. Yeah, I don't know. It looks, yeah. I mean, look, I get it. Actually, that's incorrect. There were over 500 people that saw the resurrected Christ. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not really big a fan of. I think that's kind of fake. I do. You can go to usocc.org. All of the information is there for you. Okay. Listen, I can't show you. I'll just type in Colorado Bigfoot river rafting, and you can see it there. I think it just doesn't. I would say no. Okay, listen to this. Again, for those of you who are in England, you guys have a lot of activity going on here. A surge in crop circles are now sparks police appeal in Wiltshire, England. So crop circles have become such a nuisance in parts of the country that local police have been appealing to the public. See, back in the early 90s, I remember this, crop circles became something of a global phenomenon. That's true. With mysterious, I mean, these were the patterns, I will admit, were just remarkable. But mysterious patterns and shapes springing up in fields and countries all across the world. Well, at the time, the popularity of shows such as X-Files saw a sustained uptick in interest in the unexplained. And with many associating crop circles with UFOs and extraterrestrial visitors. Oh, is TRL? TRL, if you're not going to be kind, I'm going to block you. You show the same respect that we're showing you. And if you can't, I will block you. It's plain and simple. We're not a Jerry Springer show here. Well, you got muted. That's what you get, TRL. That's what happens when you can't be a normal human being. Anyway, now while today some people remain adamant that crop circles have unearthly origins, it is generally accepted that the vast majority have been created by humans rather than aliens. Anyway, most recently, the police in English County of Wiltshire put out a general appeal to the public asking for people to come forward and report any crop circles that they happen to come across. Well, more people are being muted. Anyway, much of the concern is due to the damage that crop circles can do to the fields and local farmers. Quote, while they may look impressive, creating a crop circle without the landowner's permission is criminal damage. It is. So these acts can cause serious short and long-term damages to crops and fields, may also attract further illegal activity. Landowners who do find a crop circle in one of their fields are being urged to put up a no public access sign if they don't want members of the public, trespassing over the land to come and see it. Well, anyway, those who don't mind visitors, meanwhile, have been advised to speak to their insurer as they will be responsible for the health and safety of anyone who happens to step into their land. Exactly how many landowners will actually encourage such visits, however, remains unclear. See, I don't, these, look, here's the deal. They've done investigations before. On Discovery Channel, all kinds of, even I think Travel Channel. They've shown how these really detailed, intricate designs can be made. And ironically, at a very quick pace. What I don't like about this is, if these are not, let's say the landowner is not doing this, and, somebody who thinks this is cute, it's not. This is someone's livelihood. And these crop circles are not a few feet. These crop circles are massive. They are really huge. Some of them taking almost the whole entire field. So when you have a crop circle and you destroy someone's crop, that's their bread and butter. That's how they make a living. That's how they pay their bills. So while it may be cute and seen as extracurricular activity, I think it's destructive and stupid. So I hope that if they do find out if these people are doing, they need to be arrested, because these are people's livelihood. And not only that, but you can destroy the property. I don't like it. I think, in my opinion, I think this is not done by aliens. I think this is done by humans. And I also believe that people who do it should be arrested. Because this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. You destroy, think of how much money they destroy. I mean, if you want to, look, if you want people to see your art, then draw. Go get a canvas. Go get it. They sell them at Walmart. You can get it. Go get a painting canvas, and you can paint your pretty little designs all you want all over that. That's fine. Go ahead and do that. Knock yourself out. But when you go on someone's property and you damage their property, not only are you affecting the farmer, but now you're also affecting the local community who depend on that food and the agriculture. So while people say, oh, that's so pretty, that's such a pretty design, I scratch my head and say, do you realize what they've done? How would you like for me to come into your home and spray paint everywhere and then call it art? It's not pretty. It's ridiculous. Right, draw. If you want to show everybody, I'm not denying the fact that they are intricate designs. Okay, then put it on canvas. Sell it. Or give it away. But to go on someone's property and destroy it, you're right. Yeah, and even a waste of food. I just don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand that. So that to me is just unacceptable. It's not funny. It's stupid. And I hope they catch the people. I really do. I do. I hope they absolutely 1,000,000% catch these people. Do you know people who are able, it's been a while there, Russia, primarily because I've been just too busy. Do you know about individuals? I knew somebody who did this many years ago, but they would go underneath a light pole, or the lights, and then it would either flicker or go off. Have you ever been around people like that? The street lights. You walk down the street and then the street light would be on, and then someone would walk underneath it and it would just go off. This is really interesting because there's a lot of people. Oh, you are? Or they pop. Well, listen to this. This is very interesting, guys. This is by Steve Higgins, and I want to share this with you. It says, are some people really causing electronics to malfunction? Well, according to researcher and author Rachel Cunningham, there may be more to these weird tech failures you experience than just bad luck. She has a newly published 30-page book called Human Electromagnetic Interference, a researcher's introduction to the slider effect. This is interesting. So again, it's a human electromagnetic interference, a researcher's introduction to the slider effect. So explores a little known phenomenon known as the slider effect. And it might explain why streetlights flicker when you walk by or when your mobile seems to crash more than anyone else's. Now, the term slider originally came from the street light interference. People who noticed lamps would flicker or turn off as they passed beneath them. Well, but the label has since broadened to cover all sorts of strange disruptions to electronic equipment. Sliders, as they are sometimes called, report everything from watches breaking and laptops malfunctioning to contactless cards deactivating and triggering alarms in shops. Sometimes you just walk past. So anyway, Rachel, there's a person who's collected accounts from people who believe that they have lived with this ability for years. Some say they regularly blow light bulbs, drain batteries, unusually quick, or even crash devices, which is by being near them. One person recalled how during a group call with two other sliders, a power pole transformer outside their house exploded. What's interesting about the word slider is, one day, yes, Billy, one day. What's interesting about this is there used to be a television show. It was really popular called Sliders. And that I love the concept of it. You'll have to look it up. It's called Sliders. Now, it says in the article, while this all sounds a bit far-fetched, well, the author grounds her writing in concepts that science already accepts. The human body emits measurable electromagnetic radiation, something even infrared thermometers rely on. And energy transfer between the body and electronics isn't unheard of either. Static shocks are a simple example of how humans can discharge electrical energy into objects. The author Rachel also draws a comparison with practices in Eastern medicine like acupuncture and Reiki, which are based on the idea of imbalances in the body's energy field. She points out that many sliders find their interference gets worse with stress or strong emotion. And sometimes that also aligns with these traditions. I'm curious, it does happen, really. So there are many people who have saying yes, that they've experienced this. Yeah, difficult times. That's what she's saying here. She says, in her book, she shares results from an informal study on people who identify as sliders, where nearly all participants said that their interference became worse during emotional highs, especially anger and stress. The book also explores possible links between the slider effect and neurodivergent traits or connective tissue disorders, with early results showing a potentially higher prevalence of both among sliders. That is really interesting. So the author doesn't claim to have all the answers, but she does hope that her work will provide people with a starting point, a way to recognize shared experiences and open up the conversation about a topic that many feel just dismissed too easily. So again, for those of you who want to know, the author, her name is Rachel Cunningham. And the book is a little lengthy in the title, but it's Human Electromagnetic Interference. Human Electromagnetic Interference, a researcher's introduction to the slider effect. So for those of you who want to read up on that, there we are. So, Rachel Cunningham, that's her name. That's pretty cool. That is interesting. But I used to know a friend a long time ago when we, had either we are playing basketball or we were riding our bikes or whatever, and he always had that ability to turn off the lights, just turn it off. It was really strange. So anyway, pretty cool. Very, very cool, actually. Okay. I want to talk about the paranormal films, the movies, the horror movies. And if in fact these horror movies are based in real truth, or is it just all nonsense? So Jennifer said I was upset and made a street light go out, and then the battery in my car. My goodness, that's pretty interesting. That's very similar to how poltergeist works. Now, poltergeist is not demonic. A poltergeist means noisy ghost, but it's not a ghost at all. It's a negative energy that someone is omitting. So they're going through extreme emotional stress. Could be a lot of fighting, whatever that might. And then what happens often with poltergeist, it is, electrical appliances are affected. Yeah, poltergeist, it's not a ghost. Poltergeist is energy. So, for example, you're walking down the street and you see a person, you don't know the person, but they are emitting negative energy. You're like, nope, I'm going to cross that street. I don't want to be around that person. That's all energy. Or a person can walk into a room, not say a word, and their very presence just lights up the room. That's positive energy. Now, so let's talk about movies that were, some of them, allegedly both are supposed to be true, but are they really? So this is what Steve Higgins wrote. He cites the biggest lies in paranormal films based on true stories. Says some of the biggest lies, exaggerations, and outright inventions that movies keep repeating, from violent ghosts to misunderstood gadgets, and how they differ from what actually investigators experience. Well, so he says this: supernatural films that claim to be based on true events are a big part of what keeps paranormal stories in the mainstream. But how much of what you see on screen is actually true? Now, whether it's a movie about a haunted house or demonic possession, most paranormal films take real cases and twist them to suit a dramatic plot. And that's true. But they often go further than that, he says, promoting ideas about the supernatural that doesn't hold up in the real world of ghost investigating. Now, the first thing, he says, ghosts can physically harm you. He says many films shows ghosts scratching, pushing, or even unaliving people. That would not be a ghost. That would be a demon. But most investigators see that's not how hauntings work. While some claim to be touched or experience minor marks, there's little credible evidence that ghosts can cause physical harm. The idea of violent spirits makes for great scares on screen, but it's rarely backed up by the accounts of long-term researchers. And that's true. When you're dealing with a human spirit, it's very seldom. Just little things are moved, no big deal. But as far as being pushed and scratched, thank you. That's usually when we're dealing with demonic. He also says in movies, and this is true, he says in movies, possessions happens quickly and often. This is, in reality, that is nonsense. I'm telling you now, it's nonsense. But he says in films, someone gets possessed within minutes. And we understand that because it's a 2-hour movie. So they obviously can't have a movie that lasts for 2, 3, 4, 5 months. So we understand it's condensed. So anyway, they get possessed within minutes of entering a haunted location. And he has a point there. In reality, cases of alleged possession are extremely rare, true, and usually involve complex psychological religious elements. The dramatic transformations, deep voices, and levitation scenes in films owe more to The Exorcist than any real-world documentation. And that's true. I mean, it doesn't happen when you just walk in and all of a sudden, I'm possessed. Sure you are. Okay. Okay. He also says there's a lot of people who believe ghost hunting, I hate that term, ghost hunting gadgets work like magic. Sleep paralysis, actually, I had a neurosurgeon on my show, and he talked about sleep paralysis. And most of the time when you have what's called isolated sleep paralysis, or otherwise known as ISP, that's very common. Doesn't mean it's always demonic at all. As a matter of fact, if you're having no other manifestations other than a sleep paralysis episode, then it is sleep paralysis. If you have a true demonic infestation, you're going to have other manifestations throughout the day. Now, he also stated that if you have what's called RISP, recurrent isolated sleep paralysis, then you need to be tested for narcolepsy. And that's what the neurosurgeon said. But listen to this. There's a lot of people who think that, these ghost investigating gadgets work like magic, and they don't. He says movies often depict EMF meters, thermal cameras, spirit boxes as reliable tools that clearly detect ghosts every single time. In real investigations, these devices are much less definitive. An EMF meter light might light up, just means that there's a nearby plug socket, and he's right. A lot of times, that's why you have to have it's called a baseline reading. Here's what I mean by that. Before you do an investigation, you take your EMF reader and you just go through every single room and every plug, every socket, and you just move up and you get the baseline reading. You write it down. So the living room is reading this or this, whatever it might be. Then when you begin the investigation, if there is an increase in the EMF reader, then you document that. That gets your attention. That's why it's always important to have a baseline reading first, and especially even in the temperature, the digital temperature gauge that I have. I always do baseline readings. I do baseline readings on everything, on EMF. I do baseline readings on the if I have a thermo. I do baseline readings on every gadget that I have. I try to do a baseline reading first. Then once all that's documented, then you do the actual investigation, because then you can compare. Okay, now, another theory that people believe is demons are everywhere. So he says films love to bring demons into the mix, especially anything involves a Catholic priest or a crumbling church. In most genuine haunting cases, the idea of demonic entities rarely comes up. While demonology is part of some religious frameworks, it's not as common focus in everyday paranormal research. Well, it isn't mine. The demon trope tends to overshadow more subtle and unexplained activity. Right. 9 times out of 10, you can explain the activity. So when I go, if I have an investigation, you can. Yeah, if I go to an investigation, I try to debunk. The very last thing that I think about is demon. That's the last thing that I think about. I try everything that I can to debunk the activity, to explain it. That's my goal. I use logic, I control the emotion, and I figure out what caused something to fall or what. And then if I can't, then we start looking into the supernatural. But many people immediately, they say they go into a room and, oh, did you hear that growl? And everybody's like, oh yeah, that's a growl. Oh, thank you very much. And it wasn't a growl, it was someone's stomach growling. I've seen that before. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm seeing. I absolutely. That's up to God, Ephraim. That's up to God. We can't say who's in heaven or hell. We can't make that judgment, because that judgment is all that person is all that seat's already taken. That's Christ. Well, I knew Angela. I knew Lorraine. I did not know Ed. I was friends with Lorraine, and there were many cases that you'll never ever know that the Warrens did. But some of these cases obviously got a lot of attention, and we're going to talk about them in just a second. Now, The Conjuring. I had Andrea Perron. Andrea Perron is a friend of mine. She grew up in the Conjuring house, so she was there. She witnessed it. Matter of fact, she's also a host, a show host on the same KGRA-DB radio that I'm on. And so I've had her on many times, and I talked to her many times about her experience of The Conjuring. She thinks that Lorraine and Ed tried to help, but they made it a lot worse when they brought in a person who claimed to be psychic, who had no experience in demonology, and all hell broke loose in the home. So her name is Andrea Perron, and she's written 3 books on the Conjuring. It's called House of Darkness, House of Light. They are fantastic books. So if you really want to know what happened, that's it. So it's called KGRADB. So you can just go to kgradb.com. Well, actually, I've talked to Lorraine many times about Annabelle. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see Annabelle in October, this October, when I go to Lexington, Kentucky, because I'm going to be doing a presentation at Scarefest. people, friends, listen to me. Ed and Lorraine often took Annabelle around when they did presentations on demonology. So I don't know why people are so up in arms. I knew Lorraine. Lorraine was a friend of mine. So everybody's acting like they actually knew Lorraine. They did not. They say, well, they never took it out. Yes, they did. They've taken Annabelle out many times when they did presentations, especially when they did presentations at universities. Now Lorraine didn't like her. Lorraine did not like Annabelle. Lorraine actually didn't want to even go into the museum because she felt very uncomfortable in the museum. But the idea that they never took out Lorraine or Annabelle, they did. So I don't know where people are saying that, but that's not true. Yeah, John. So here's the deal. I've been doing this for 25 years. And as an exorcist, I performed 33 exorcisms, and I have blessed thousands of homes, all free, not charging a penny, never have, never will. And I did a show yesterday, and I showed quite a few items that I have collected, not even 10% of the things that I've collected through the years, because people buy these items, they take it to their home, and then they have some violent activity that occurs. And yesterday I did a show on it, and I actually had it here with me. The reason is I remove those items is for those of you who are watching it, you now understand, for those of you who didn't understand previously, that when you see it, when you see these items, you get it. You understand. I could sit here and talk about a doll all day. This is an abstract idea of a doll. But until you actually see these things, then you're like, okay, I don't want anything. Many people even felt uncomfortable just by putting them on the screen. They wanted me to put them away. But they got the point. So the point was, stop collecting them, because they're very, very dangerous. And this is why. I have a master's of education. I was trained in special education. So I'm very, very aware with teaching methodologies. Not everyone learns through lecture style, because through lecture style, it's very abstract when you start talking about a doll, etc. But when you actually have it physically and you see it, for some people, it connects better. So there we are. So let's get back to this. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's also, there's a belief that ghosts appear clearly on camera. No, not all the time. Seeing a full body, anyway, when you see a full body apparition, you see that all the time in the film. But let me tell you something. For those of you who are true paranormal investigators, you know full body apparitions are very rare. They are ultra rare. They happen, not often, but they do happen. But in movies, you see them all the time. And it's like, well, that doesn't really quite work that way. I know people who are gifted, who absolutely are psychic mediums. They are absolutely gifted. As a matter of fact, we spoke to Father Bob Bailey, who is a retired Roman Catholic priest, a couple of weeks ago, who is traveling with Annabelle. He also absolutely knows people who are truly gifted. So I know there are some people that are very much anti this. I always ask people, why are you going? When you're seeking a psychic meeting, for what? Because if you're trying to make contact with a loved one, you don't need to. They're fine. They're fine. And you got to be at peace knowing that they're okay. Because some people go to the extreme. I know some people who claim to be psychic mediums, and they prey. They prey on people who just lost a loved one. And then what they'll do is they'll say, well, just have a private meeting with me, a reading, and they do. And then they charge an exuberant amount of money. I mean, exuberant. And then they say, oh, they're fading away. They're fading away. We're going to have to, they want me to tell you something, but I lost the connection. So maybe we can, if you want to reschedule it, we can or if you can, we schedule it again, another session, and then before you know it, you have invested thousands of dollars. And that's not right. That's not right. That's wrong. So I don't support that at all. Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen. Yeah. Like I just said, I believe there are people who absolutely are gifted, and no question about it. And matter of fact, Willie Windwalker Gibson is a friend of mine. He is absolutely gifted. I know. I personally know Chip Coffey. He's a friend of mine, and I can tell you he is absolutely gifted. But I also know people who claim to be who are not. So, you know. Okay. So if you have questions, we can kind of jump into some questions and go from there. Yeah, Joan. One thing's, yeah, Joan. There are, like, for example, don't feed any information. Yes or no. Yes or no. Yes or no answers. You don't want it, because a lot of times, these people who are frauds, who are not gifted, they're very good with body language. They can read you quite well because they've been doing it for years, and they listen to every word you say. And just be careful with that. Just yes or no answers. So anybody who's legitimate will tell you, don't feed me any information. Don't do that. They will tell you, don't do this. So, well, Kathy, I would love to, but he's had some really serious health issues. So he's on the mend now. So, but yeah, I'm absolutely convinced. Like I said, Willie Windwalker is a friend of mine, and he absolutely is gifted. Chip Coffey is absolutely gifted. So, yeah, user 4347, very, very simple, because when it was talking about the Bible, talking about psychics and mediums, you have to understand the context in which it was written. There were many pagan influences that were occurring in the Hebrew Israelites. And unfortunately, this is what they would do. And I learned this in the Roman Catholic Church, studying in the Roman Catholic Seminary. So for those of you say, anyway. So what happened often during this time when it was written in Scripture was that there were many pagan gods, and you were required to go to a particular intermediary, a person that they would call intermediary, and you would offer 5 shekels for each god. So if they had a god of rain or a god of moon or a god of earth or a god of tree or god of whatever, and you would have to pay that intermediary 5 shekels per god, because if you did not, then that particular god would raise your loved one up, that's a necromancy, and punish them for eternity. So you would have to offer a certain shekels for every single one of their gods. What was happening is, so a loved one passed away, and you'd go to these people and say, okay, here's a shekel, you're giving all these shekels. And then 2 years later, another loved one passed away. You go to them. Oh no, we don't have 5 gods. We now have 15 gods. Oh, and what's wrong? And you can't tolerate the truth? Pity. Anyway, if I was really interrupted. And so what would happen is they would say, oh no, we don't have 10 gods. We now have 15 gods. And it's no longer 5 shekels per god. It's 20. So it's extortion. This is what it was talking about. You have to look at the Scripture of what its context. Remember also, you're talking thousands of years. The same terminology it's not the same. The same language we use today, the words we use, were not the same that they used. That's just common sense. So that's what it was referring to. And it was extortion. It was fraud. So that's what it was. Yeah, Anne couldn't stand the truth. So pity. I have not watched The Nun, Patty. No. Ancient Aliens. I haven't watched it. Faith. I've never watched it. Oh goodness, yeah. Psalm 91. Yeah, we pray against any evil that comes against us. Any evil. Oh, thank you there, Sheena. So yes, to answer your question, do I believe people are gifted? Yes. Yeah, I do. I don't believe I know. I know. Look, I've said this before. When I was a police chaplain, I've said this many times. I'm skeptical by nature anyway. but I have to be, because if I believed every single person who tells me they're possessed, I believe there's a million people possessed, and there's not. But they got a tip from a medium of a missing person. So a medium, had contacted the police and said that they knew where they could find the remains of the person who was missing. The police, because I was a chaplain at that time, I was there, and I was there to be with the family, to keep them from obviously running on the scene, because they didn't want any type of contamination of the evidence if there was anything that they found. Now, all you naysayers, you can go and yap until you're blue in the face. I really don't care. The family did not believe in psychics. The family was very anti-psychic. They believed that psychics were doing the work of the devil. They were going to burn in the fiery pits of hell, blah, 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 blah. But the family was there because of this tip that this medium shared with the police. Now, I was there. I saw it. The police were digging, and basically they found the remains of the person within 5 feet of where this medium told the police where they would find the remains of the person, within 5 feet. Now, I know immediately people are going to say, they're going to go on. I don't really care. Because let me tell you this. The very same family that was very anti-psychic mediums, their whole perception changed. And I felt that it was sad that it took someone doing that for them before, they weren't so judgmental. Because they were even to the point, I think they were even nasty to the medium who was trying to help them. Before they found the remains, they were nasty. They were like, oh, this is Satan. This is Satan's work. They're never going to find their remains. Oh, these are Satan work. But we were there, and when they found the body, I looked at the family, and they didn't say a word. Not a word. And so that gave the family closure, because they were able to properly, to give their family member a proper burial. I saw it. I was there I witnessed it with my own eyes. And now that same family, who was very anti-psychic, very anti-medium, that same family changed their whole outlook on it, because they benefited from the very same person they were crucifying, that they were hurling insults at. Then that changed their perspective, and I think it's sad that it took that to change their perspective. I thought it was selfish. So, but they did find. I saw it. I can't explain it. I can't explain it. Obviously, God speaking through that person to give that family closure. That's the only thing I can come up with. The psychic medium, it was a very devout Christian. People are going to say, you can't be a Christian. Shut up. You can be a Christian and be a psychic medium. I don't want to hear all that nonsense. Willie Windwalker is a Christian. Chip Coffey is a Christian. So anyway, and just because you call yourself a Christian, that doesn't make you a Christian. I know a lot of people go to church every single Sunday. As soon as they walk out of that church, they're condemning people to hell. And they're worried about atheists? Anyway. But I saw it. I was there. And I witnessed it. So, it just, I think so. Walking the light, it was a powerful moment. And it brought the family, closure. So, yeah, Catherine. So I don't know, but I do know there's a lot of people out there that prey on people who are emotionally vulnerable, and I don't like that. I don't like that. But that is a problem. I have a problem with that, and there are a lot of people who do that. So I'm not going to explain the story again. Yeah, it's a long story, but anyway, that's what happened there. So, A personal question? Well, it depends on what question it is. Kratina? Well, this print is small on the TikTok. Well, thank you very much there, Len. Thank you. So anyway, I don't know. Healing. No, I don't put my faith in healing crystals. I put my faith in God. Your Facebook question? No, I'm in the middle of the show. I can't see the messenger. You can there, Katina, but the problem is I got so many messages you can try, and I'll do the best I can. So I have used a spirit box before during an investigation, and oh, Mother Cabrino, very interesting. So I've used these devices to document, and there we go. Okay. What is to be good? Yeah, just be good. Just leave people alone. Stop. I don't understand why people need to constantly tell people how to live their lives as if their life is so perfect. It's like, just leave people alone. So just leave people alone, and focus on thank you very much. Focus on doing right by people. Show compassion, and just leave people alone. Let them live their lives. But we think we have the right to sit here and judge everybody, and we don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of stupid. Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. There's other articles I want to get into that's really interesting. So, well, Magnolia, putting spells on people, I mean, that's curses. But there's a lot of, you got to be very careful with that type of stuff. A lot. You got to be very careful with that, because you're making a pact with the devil. And see, that's the thing. When people say, "Well, I don't believe in possession." Well, okay, fine. Okay. And then they say, "Prove to me that possession exists." No. What do you mean? Because I'm not here to prove to you that demons exist. I'm here to help the families who know they do. So if you don't believe in demons, okay, that's your problem. And that's the thing that I think people don't understand. And that's why I tell people, not because I'm bragging, but I'm making it a point that I have a doctorate, I have a master of divinity, a master of education, a master of business, a master of divinity, a bachelor of communication. I don't get paid from the church. I don't receive a salary, and I do this ministry for free. So if I didn't know the possession exists, I would do something else with my time. Yeah, you can. Faith, you absolutely. There are prayers to breaking curses. Are you who? Are you? Are you going to be accompanying and also paying for their legal fees? Are you? Who? No, that's what I thought. Okay. Unbelievable. Yeah. Okay. If you want to debate by that, you need to scroll on to another Jerry Springer show, because we're not that. Okay. We're not a Jerry Springer show, and we're not gonna play games like that at all. Okie doke. Oh, thank you there, Aesthetic. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to look at some, well, I don't know about this one. Oh, I want to talk about this one. This is a very, very interesting one. Hey, who? Let me introduce you to something. Be blessed and be blocked. We don't want your toxicity here. Bye-bye. And now who? I just blocked who? Who? I don't know. Okay. I don't know who I blocked. It was who? Okay. This is interesting. Now look, guys, I want to talk about this. I am convinced this exists. This is by a doctor, a PhD, Dr. Herzog. That's his name. Have you ever encountered the ghost of a deceased pet? Well, it's pretty interesting. Paranormal experiences may help relieve prolonged grief in bereaved animal lovers. So descriptions of, this is really interesting. Descriptions of encounters with the dead are found across human cultures and over historical time. According to a YouGov survey, 41% of Americans believe ghosts are real. 19 say that they have personally seen a ghost, and often these experiences have involved deceased, deceased family members. But what about encounters with deceased pets? After all, most American pet owners consider their dogs and cats a part of their family. Amen. They are. Mine was. I mean, I have friends that are Greek Orthodox. Okay, Jen Goldbeck, Psychology Today blogger and computer science professor in the College of Information Studies of University of Maryland, recently conducted the first systematic study of the paranormal experiences of bereaved pet lovers. The surprising results of her study were published in a journal, and using social media, Goldbeck solicited descriptions of supernatural experience of owners of deceased dogs. She said, while I'm skeptical about the ontological reality of ghosts, that's what the PhD writer says, the subjective experience of encountering ghosts of pets are real. Indeed, they may help dog lovers and animal lovers cope with grief following the death of a pet. Well, there was a study of canine apparitions. Goldbeck was interested in the range of perceived encounters with deceased canine companions and their significance of and meaning of dog owners. She posted a prompt on Twitter and Instagram. If you have lost a dog, have you had an experience like seeing their ghost, receiving a sign? Did they communicate with you? She then developed a coding system to categorize the 544 responses. Now, intrigued by her study, this PhD posted a similar message on Facebook within a couple of days, and several dozens of Facebook friends wrote to me about their experiences. Well, Goldbeck found that these paranormal experiences fell into two categories: physical interactions and interpreted interactions. So physical interactions in 315 cases. I'm sorry, Troz, this might be above your head, so just try to stay with us here for a moment. In 315 cases, Goldbeck's respondents experienced sensory encounters with canine apparitions. They heard ghostly sounds, like they felt their dog's touch. And in rare cases, they saw their deceased pet. The most common sensory experience, which is 37% of the cases, involved hearing the dog like a bark, a jingle, or a clunk of their collar, or the clicking of the dog's paws on the floor. Nearly half of the physical sensory interactions occurred at night. And in 45 cases, the person felt the dog lying in bed to them. I experienced that. It says one of my Facebook friends reported that in a dream, she felt her deceased dog lick her on the chin, and that caused her to wake up. And then she said her chin was wet. Then there's called interpreted interactions. So in 264 cases, bereaved owners interpreted paranormal events as related to the spirit of the dog rather than direct visitations. These included dreams in which the dog appeared or ghostly activity such as a smoke detector going off for no apparent reason. So again, these are just interpreted interactions. Well, maybe, Ralphie is there. But 154 of Goldbeck's respondents wrote about personal meaning and their encounters with lost pets. And only 9% of these experiences fell into the category of mixed to sad. Thank you. Most were absolutely saying that it gave them peace. But I found that very interesting that in 315 cases, 37% of the cases involved hearing the dog a bark, a jingle, a clunk of the collar, or a clicking of the dog's paws. And nearly half, thank you, interactions occurred at night. So I 100% believe this. So there's no one can convince me otherwise. So thank you for the cat claw. So Fuzzy and Kylie, they were my dogs. and they were my little babies, my schnauzers. Fuzzy developed a brain tumor, but he had a routine. It was very odd, and it was also very OCD. Fuzzy loved Miss Wilma. Miss Wilma was his girlfriend. Let's just leave it at that. He loved Miss Wilma, and but now they had the whole entire rule of the house. I mean, I was just a tenant in the home. They owned it. But so I would be on the couch and Fuzzy would jump on his little pillow and he would do three twirls. 1, 2, 3. And he would just plop. No matter where he was facing, he just plopped. That's what he did. 1, 2, 3, plop. Well, he unfortunately developed a brain tumor, and it was inoperable. And so I had to make the very difficult decision to send him over to the Rainbow Bridge. Well, we did. I made that decision, and that was certainly not a hard. When I say we, obviously the doctor agreed, and so because I'm celibate, I don't live with anyone. But anyway. So Fuzzy passed away. It was about a week later. And then I still had Kylie. Now, Kylie was a toy schnauzer. And she was the boss. She was the boss. There's no ifs, ands. Kylie was the boss. But about a week later, obviously still depressed and sad about losing Fuzzy. I was sitting down, flipping through the channels, and I felt it was not imagined, because even Kylie sparked up and looked right over, because Kylie was sitting on here. Fuzzy usually sits over here, and I felt Fuzzy go 1, 2, 3, plop. Kylie went up, looked over, and it wasn't a growl or anything like that. She started barking, but no question, I experienced that, no question. And Kylie, and I also experienced Kylie. So Kylie had her little bed right next to mine, and Kylie had this routine that she needed to be babied. It was very important before she went to bed, because if she didn't, she would just throw a fit. So I would have to hold her, and then she would jump on the bed and pounce around like a rabbit. It was her routine. Because she knew she was going to get a treat before she went to bed, because I wasn't going to ever let her go, she's never going to go to bed hungry. So anyway, she was excited about getting the retreat, because that was the next thing. Well, Kylie passed away. And so, well, thank you very much. And so she passed away. And again, I had to make a very difficult decision. And so it was about a couple weeks later, and I had received both of their ashes, because they're going to be buried with me. When the good Lord calls me home, they're going to be placed in the coffin. And so I was getting ready to lay down, and then I felt Kylie's routine. Bounce, 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 waiting for her treat. Now, I hope that, I was like, oh, I hope this little Kylie's not going to haunt me, because I can't give her a treat. But I absolutely felt, no question. So I experienced that. No, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah, they did pass pretty close to one another. They were both older too. And they were 14 years old. And Kylie, for those of you who don't know, schnauzers, especially apparently toy schnauzers, and I know that's not an official breed, but toy schnauzers, according to my vet, are very, very prone to pancreatitis. So I never, ever fed them human food, ever. And I never fed them cheap, dog food. I bought them Royal Canine low-fat gastrointestinal food. It was very expensive. That was not cheap at all. But that's all they ate. They only ate Royal Canine gastrointestinal low-fat food, because they were prone to pancreatitis. Even then, Kylie still got pancreatitis. And there for the last year of her life, last 2 years, she usually had to go into the hospital for sometimes up to a week so they could treat her pancreatitis. So usually once a month, she would be in the hospital. That lasted for about 2 years. And that was expensive. That was like, oh, if you've ever had, that's 24/7. That's for 1 week. She was in there usually every month. But that she was just prone to it. She was prone to it. And that's that no matter what, we couldn't fix it. So, but we, she had a very good life. And it just got to a point where it's like, okay, that's enough. That's enough. Because, she was in a lot of pain. So, oh yeah. I absolutely experienced it. It was a powerful experience. It really was. Oh, they were my kids. No question. No question. Yeah. The Royal Canine, it's a prescription food. The low-fat gastrointestinal, you can't just buy it off the shelf, or at least you couldn't when I had the dog. I don't know if they can do it now, but when I had them, you had to have a prescription. But there's no question. I experienced Fuzzy and Kylie, and so Schnauzers. Prescription food, yeah. They're both Schnauzers, and it was low-fat. Royal Canine low-fat gastrointestinal food. You can buy now without? Okay. Yeah, back, this was 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, you had to have a prescription. So, but they loved it. But so that just, yeah, I tried. I did all that science side, all that stuff, but it was the Royal Canine, the low-fat gastrointestinal Royal Canine. That was the best. That's what I experienced with Kylie and Fuzzy for pancreatitis. That was the best that kept it at bay. But unfortunately, not a whole lot you can do. So, but yeah, that was it. For those of you who are listening to this on podcast, I am going to say goodnight to you guys. I'm going to close this out for them. That way I don't have all these things. Well, thank you there, Anne-Marie. But yeah, so they're in heaven, and 100%, no one can convince me that that you won't see your loved one, your dogs again, or animal. You will. So anybody who says you won't is incorrect. Actually, if you look in Scripture, it's quite clear. It's very, very clear that animals are in heaven. Okay, so let me do this right now so you guys can have this on podcast. I'm not leaving just yet, but I want to make sure I do this for you guys so you can have it. You can just go to bishopjameslong.com, scroll down to where it says official social media links. And if you want to listen to this on podcast, then you just click on Spreaker. And there you go. But I promise you guys, you will see your fur babies. Your fur babies will be in heaven. You will see them again. And don't let anybody tell you that's not true, because they are misleading you. So they are misleading you. Okay. So for those of you who are on Facebook, YouTube, and all that other stuff, which I'm not supposed to say, it's going on 10 o'clock. And 2 hours is good enough. Tomorrow, the schedule is this. At 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Mass. It's the Holy Trinity tomorrow. So that's only airing at 6 p.m. The Mass only airs on TikTok. I turned chat off on TikTok. I'll stay with you guys for a little bit longer. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Bible study. And Bible study is open to everybody on all social media platforms. So I want to give you guys a heads up on that. So anyway, tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern is Mass. So please join us, and then Bible study tomorrow at 8. Remember, I tell you guys all the time, your value does not decrease based on a troll's inability or refusal to see your worth. You're priceless, and don't let any of those trolls tell you or convince you otherwise. Have a great night, and hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow night. God bless.